Welcome to the Repsychled podcast, where we discuss everyday issues from a mental health perspective. We are your hosts, Dr. Rashonda Strickland,
Dr. LaFonya Jones-Hines,
and Dr. Nichelle Wall. Now, don't get it twisted. We're not going to be your stereotypical therapist.
What we will be is informative, down to earth, a little spicy, and vulnerable.
All right, interns, turn up your volume, grab your pen and paper. It's supervision time. As a reminder, this podcast is not meant to take the place of a relationship with a licensed mental health professional.
Welcome back to session 91, Movie Mental Breakdown, Waiting to Exhale, 1995. Today's mood music comes from the soundtrack of this movie, and it is Not Gonna Cry by Mary J. Blige.
Because it's not the time.
It's not worth my time. No, you're not worth my tears.
Oh, man. Waiting to Exhale. I was so surprised that I was like, man, it's been a long time since I've seen this movie. And it was better than I remember it being.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to figure out why I was watching this movie as young as I was.
I said the same thing.
Baby, 12 years old in 1995. Why do I know this movie?
Well, I was a little bit older, but I still think it was too old for me.
Yeah. Still love it. It's a classic, though. As y'all know, we love to do the classics. So for this one, this is another movie, and this must just be the 90s version of movies. The amount of cuts that happen between scenes. Mm-hmm. They have simultaneous stories going on at the same time. Mm-hmm. And they just jump back and forth like real quick, like between the stories. So forgive us if it sounds like we're talking a little in circles, because the way these scenes are set up. So this movie stars, of course, all the big names. It got everybody in here. So the ladies, the four friends that this movie stars, we have Angela Bassett, who plays Bernadine, or Bernie. Lela Rochon plays Robin. Loretta Devine plays Gloria. Whitney Houston plays Savannah. And then we got the menses, Allstate, who also is known as Kenneth in this movie, is played by Denise Haybert. Gregory Hines plays Marvin. For a little piece in the film, Wendell Pierce plays Michael. And then we have Mykelti. Mm-hmm. Williamson plays Troy, or also known in the meme world as You Raggedy Bitch. Then we have Michael Beach, who plays John. This is Bernie's husband, and he's forever playing a trash dude. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Mr. Beach, but these are the roles you choose. Mm-hmm. Donald Faison plays Gloria's son, and then Tarik. Yeah, and Giancarlo Esposito he plays David, whom is Gloria's baby daddy, or I don't know, ex-husband, some sort of relation they have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Did you forget about Leon?
No, there's more.
Oh, I didn't see you moving.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in this film.
Gotcha.
But I think he's probably the only other person that's probably worth mentioning specifically. Russell is played by the only Leon.
Man.
Yeah. Yes. Sesame, sexual chocolate.
That's why I needed you to say that man's name.
So we start this film off, in classic 90s fashion, where they're doing like the opening discussion on, here we are. I'm traveling because I've had a whole, horrible time in wherever she was living, Denver. Mm-hmm. So I'm moving down to Tucson or
in Phoenix.
That's what it was. I knew it was Arizona. Mm-hmm. Phoenix. So we getting her driving in the car and the wind's blowing in her hair. We're talking about her as in Savannah, also known as Whitney Houston. Wind blowing in her hair, and she's just like reflecting on life and how she ain't been able to find a man.
Yes.
And I was like, isn't it funny that we just talked about this on one of the previous sessions this particular month on not finding your person where you live.
There's P in the C.
Yeah, there you go. So she was like, I got to get up out of here. So she did. The other thing, they start describing all the issues with the other ladies. Now, I told you this just jumps around a lot. We get the introduction to who everybody is. So they also start this film off in New Year's, and they're making their New Year's, talking about how it's time to make a change, and this is the start of things fresh and new. So we do get a timeline for this movie.
Yes,
it's over the course of 1 year.
Yes.
So luckily, we know all this happens quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Yes.
So then Savannah, in this beginning montage, she talks about her prayer for a man. And this prayer was
trifling.
Man, on so many levels. I couldn't believe.
I was like, man, if that's not a list of your list guy, I don't know what is.
And the way she was almost essentially begging God to send her a man. Because she was so lonely. I was like, it's giving a lot of pick-me vibes.
Yes.
Throughout that whole prayer, and really a lot throughout this movie until the end. But it just showed the level of desperation that a person can get to when they're lonely, and how people end up settling for stuff that's not really healthy for them.
And she almost did. Several times.
So then we have Bernadine. She's also getting ready to go to this ball with her husband. She's putting on her makeup. She got her hair and her rollers, and here he come with his trifling behind as usual.
My heart was before he had even said it, of course, because I've seen the movie before. I was like, oh man, you don't want to go to the party, but you still want to be with your husband, and you getting dressed, you about to be blindsided, man. That's horrible.
And not only did he blindside her with, I don't want you to go. I'm going to take my mistress and I want to divorce you.
First of all, you made it seem like, do you mind if we don't go to the ball?
Like, we're not going to go.
Right. So she all smiles and like giddy almost. And then the gut punch.
That's a bomb if y'all didn't know.
The amount of rage I would have been experiencing, because this wouldn't have been no me being sad moment. I would have went to anger first. How dare you, trifling joker.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think what also cut her deep was also that this was a white woman.
Yeah.
Because that gets brought up several times throughout her story arc. So I think that also kind of was an extra blow to her. And it makes it seem like the woman's also younger.
Of course.
At least from the boardroom scene that we'll kind of talk about a little bit later, she seemed like she was younger than her as well.
But I still love the iconic, I give you 11 years and you're leaving me for a white woman. He talking about something, would it be better if she was black? No, but it would be better if you were black.
Yeah. There was a lot there in that too.
Yes.
Trope tripping too.
They had a lot in their relationship. So this would be one where I wish we could get more backstory on kind of how they ended up where they did. Because it didn't seem like it started that way, at least from the whole movie that they showed. But were each of them a means to an end? Was he a way to have a partner? Was she someone that had strategy and foresight and the ability to build? What was the agreement, like what was the transaction that was taking place, because clearly they both went wrong somewhere as the marriage progressed.
Yeah,
it was just interesting.
Yeah, and I was thinking about a part of her anger came from she had given up her life, her career to support his and to increase his career.
Yeah,
I was your lover and your secretary. That song is real.
Yes.
It is real. But playing devil's advocate a little bit here, she did emasculate him.
How do you feel?
Are
you talking about just in that scene or through the course of their marriage?
Well, you see it several times throughout from that
the
scene
film
forward. So it would suggest that that's a part of, like, that's not something she just did that day. Because usually you don't just straight out the gate say something like that to somebody out of nowhere. So it suggests that she has a history of saying, well, you're not black and you don't act black, and you know, all some of the things she says a little bit later. So I was like, well, you did emasculate him, you did degrade him. So at some point, if that is, again, we don't have all the backstory, so if that is something that you have done in the marriage, I'm not saying that he should cheat. That's not a license to go out and sleep with someone else, but it would support why he would want to leave you.
I could see it both ways. I could see the way you're going, and then I could also see it as far as her being so much of a people pleaser and so a stereotypical wife should be, because even with her friend group, she was very reserved and not willing to take risk chances or whatever. So I could see it both avenues.
Well, I can see it in both ways, but I think for her, I'm like, if that's truly what she was doing, emasculating him before what we saw, you're taking out on him what you're choosing to do, which is not be involved in your career. And so now I'm just assuming if she is emasculating him, that is coming from something internal. Like, I want to be doing this, but I'm helping you. So you're going to have to do what I say and do it right like I say to do it, or I'm going to emasculate you, or, you know, just, it's just a lot of things wrapped into that.
She didn't take her power.
Right.
Like we talked about in the previous session, you know, locus of control, locus of responsibility. Like, she still owes it to herself to show up for self every day.
But she was expecting for him to show up for her.
And that don't work.
Right.
For nobody.
Right.
Yeah. It was an unhealthy dynamic between the two of them.
Yeah.
But it just made me think about when I saw that scene, how for me, my gut reaction as a woman was to side with her. But stopping, I was like, wait, no, you did just say something wild to him, though. Now, he started it with the wildness, but you returned back with, oh, well, I'm about to go ahead and cut you too, in an area that's an obvious sore spot for him too.
Well, the thing about it is, even if that was a sore spot for her, you just dug the knife into my whole intestine. So now I'm gonna cut you because I'm hurt. I want you to hurt. And so even if it wasn't a normal dialogue for them, I'm gonna say something to you because you have just dumped this massive amount of pain on me. Yeah,
it's a lot just wrapped up in that little 2-3 minutes. I mean, it's enough for a whole song.
I know, right?
Then we go over to Robin, and she is, Lord, poor help this woman. She's spending New Year's Eve all on her lonesome.
And she said it's her first New Year's by herself.
Thinking about a man. One in particular that clearly don't want her.
Can't have her because he's married.
He fine though.
I know.
He fine, which is probably why she made all these accommodations for him.
Shout out to Leon, who just had a birthday. Amen.
Happy birthday, Leon.
Happy in the birthday.
Then we go over to Miss Gloria, and she and her son are kind of doing their normal routine, I guess, for New Year's. And in this scene, I was like, I'm glad he challenges her. And and that he doesn't comfortably just sit in that my son is the king of my household kind of idea or is the man of the house. And he pushes her to like, no, you need to really be thinking about you and your life and how you're going to find comfort and love for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm glad he didn't allow because he did have some guilt that he was leaving her there by herself. So I'm glad he didn't allow the guilt to take over and decide not to go out, because he's 17. He needed to go out and hang out with his friends. She should not have expected him, a young man that has friends, that probably have 3, 4, 5 girlfriends,
right,
to stay at home with his mama. You creating a mama's boy. And a problem for the woman that he ends up having in his life. Exactly.
Because she would have to compete with you.
Oh, that part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that kind of level of enmeshment, it becomes hard for an outsider to break in.
Mm-hmm. I do like that in this movie it shows the difficulty in transitioning to an empty nester and the problems that both sides are facing, because that's really not something that's discussed a lot. It's just more so, okay, we're happy you graduated and you're moving on, and then it kind of shows like the troubles of college or the troubles of after high school, but it's not really the nuances of being a parent, being a child, and becoming an adult. Like, that's a difficult transition.
Yeah. It makes me, she's probably gonna be upset that I'm saying this, but I love you, Mom. But it makes me think about my mom when I went off to college. Like, it took her years to be okay with me coming home to visit and then leaving to go back to college.
Yeah.
It was a very difficult transition for her, because I went to college hours away. So there was no way for me to just come home every weekend, or even every month. So, it may be 2 or 3, 4 months before you see me again. So to go from living with somebody their entire life to I'm only going to see you maybe twice a semester is a very difficult transition to make, especially if you have a close relationship. Now, if you don't, then,
it ain't nothing.
Yeah, it's just whatever. But I do agree with you. I like that they showed that a parent has pain. When they really love their child, it is a painful transition for them to make to allow them to become an adult.
Yeah.
But I also like that he held her accountable about his father.
Yes. Because that ain't none of my business, Mama.
Right.
That's y'all business.
Yeah. And stop pining away for a man that obviously shows that he's not interested in you.
Right.
If it ain't happened in 17, 18 years, it's not about to happen. And he
17 or 18 years.
And he is bisexual technically at the time of the beginning, and then later, moves into some other things. So it's just kind of like,
and she's aware.
Yes.
So it's not like this man is hiding this from you. You are aware. Denial is a hell of a drug. It can really prevent you from moving and make you stagnant. And we talked about desperation with Savannah. This is just a different form of desperation, that I want to be loved so badly that I'm willing to accept something that I know is truly not for me. And we've talked about personal narratives before in a previous session that, for the most part, we all walk around with some story that filters out how we interact in the world. And it seems like Gloria's is a personal narrative of unlovability. She never thinks that she's good enough or anybody will accept her for the way she looks, who she is, all that stuff. So then we told y'all this movie jumps back and forth. So we jump back to Savannah, and she's at a party. There was something she said in there, I'm single. Well, she sits down at this table with this group of friends, and of course, everybody look at her like, who is this?
I don't even know if they were friends. It was strangers.
Oh, well, it's a group of people sitting down together. But everybody, all the women at least, had the same reaction.
And so did all the men. Had the same reaction.
Which was like, who is this? And who is this?
Right.
See how you can say the same thing and have two totally different reactions?
Yes.
But she said, one of the ladies was like, she was saying one of the women thought that she was going to try to take their man. And she said, I'm single, desperate, have no morals, and when you turn your back, I will take your man.
I'll take your man.
And I was like,
see, that's why single people are uncomfortable going places with a lot of married people, because at least when I was single, when I would do these type of engagements, I did not want people to be looking at me like I want your man. Ma'am, you barely want your man. Why do I want him?
mm-hmm.
You know, I had a similar situation happen, and I'm not going to say their name because I don't want my friend to be embarrassed by their mother or anything like that, or husband. But I had somebody that's super close to me, their mother come up to me and say, hey, you don't need to be hanging around with this person because they are married now, so it is inappropriate for y'all to hang out. And I'm like, we've been best friends since we was kids. What are you talking about? And then at some point, her husband was drinking that Kool-Aid too. I said, I will fight you.
Yeah.
Y'all married. Y'all are remaining married because I be telling my homegirl to get her life together.
Mm-hmm.
So let's not do that.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you need friends because you can't get everything from your significant other.
Right.
Right.
They only got one role. That's it.
Which is significant other.
Right.
But you know, she's at the party doing her thing, and she see what is that man name?
Lionel.
Oh, thank you. I saw it. I wrote it down or later because he popped back up, and I was like, "Ooh, I forgot that man name."
I was about to say Kenny. Wrong movie.
Yes, that is him.
Him and the son is in this
from
movie.
Soul Food. Yeah,
I was like, that's not his name.
But you know, he see her and he's like, "Oh, this girl's so fine," and then they dancing, all hugged up and close, and I was like, "Oh!" I just rolled my eyes.
I did too, because the song, because of the song that came out. I can't believe it's real. I can't believe it's you. A lot of women would look at that as a sign. Oh my God, this is my husband. You know the song that came on. Oh, please. Shut up.
She kind of did too.
I know.
And I was like, please don't. And she was just like, the way she was talking, she said, I closed my eyes and exhaled and pretended he was the one I had been waiting on all my life.
And he was just raggedy.
He was. And I'm like, from one dance?
Right.
I mean, I can't say that
I
can't say love at first sight don't exist, you know, but I would say that's probably not the norm. And I was thinking, you did all that because he just held you and you felt some sort of physical connection to him. You know, I can't remember if we've ever specifically talked about this on another session, but physical attraction and physical/sexual energy does not make you compatible as a romantic partnership.
Right. Types of love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I don't know if this was a blooper or if he was really married. Because I was like, you didn't pay attention to that ring on his finger?
No, they meant that. She just wasn't paying attention.
Okay.
It's lots of married men in this film.
Yeah.
But that's her type.
It was.
That is true.
She want a man so bad, but she really don't want that commitment because she trying to go forward.
In her career.
Yep.
Had the best of both worlds.
And don't know how to balance it.
You make a valid point there, Dr. Wall. But then, you know, they get a little cut in and here come a little tenderoni. And Savannah learns that, let me go ahead and move on around. And she did.
I'm trying to figure out why Denise still was okay with
yeah, she didn't slap him.
Like, you didn't slap him. You ain't say nothing. Like, what?
She was just like,
you ain't dance with me all night.
That was it.
Well, that's normally what she say to people. That's what she said to Eva.
Did I hear some shade in there?
I'm just saying. That's what she said to Eva.
She did.
And deliver us from Eva.
She did.
So
talk about playing the same character.
Because it's her in real life.
Oh,
and Michael Beach too. It made me. It made me wonder. Yes. Sir, you keep choosing the same type of role.
Yes.
But anyway, then we do this weird cut to this salon. I really had no idea what was going on in this scene. It just kind of felt all over the place. But what I did say is you need one of those friends like Robin. Because she was ready.
Yes.
Because she was like, let's go over there.
Because first of all, how y'all didn't know the gossip in the salon. Yeah,
Okay.
that's your friend.
Okay.
Y'all ain't called to check on her before?
But they moving in different circles, because he in a different circle. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be PC. He in a different circle. So if this was like what was going on in the streets, it'd be a little bit different. But this is what's going on in boardrooms. So they probably hadn't trickled down quite yet.
Well, not that he was cheating, but that she had found out.
But I'm saying even that because like I was saying earlier, she seems so private and so protective of the image of them.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
that makes
You know
sense.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Keeping which we're about to go into, keeping the super long hair, having a certain look, being small and slender,
Yeah.
even at her age. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
that makes
it was
sense.
just so much. I was just,
Yeah. There was a lot
the
there.
feminist in me was mad.
But they got all the gossip, and then they go and call her. And, of course, Robin is like, girl, let me go whoop his behind.
Right.
And then Gloria is trying to, no, girl, stop, keep the peace. You know how Loretta Devine's characters are. They're all very motherly.
Yes.
So then, of course, cut again. We cut back over to, now Bernie's at home. She just laying in the bed. She just like.
She is truly grieving.
The-
I was like, the amount of hurt that I feel coming from you. Angela Bassett, you did a wonderful job.
She did.
She played pain well.
She did.
She does.
Oh, and does. Yes.
Because I was like, you could, and that's what I said. I was the reality. You can see it like starting to set in. Like, hold on, my life is about to really change going forward.
Yes.
Like this isn't. He's no longer just cheating. Like he's leaving me.
Yeah. And for another race, which also seems to be a part of her struggle.
Yeah. So this is where I would like more backstory because it makes me wonder. Had she been left before for another white woman? Was there something that happened between her and several white women in a corporate setting? Like what? Because this seemed to be so important. That
I think it's
or
just the
had
90s.
he cheated on her
the 90s.
before with her this same young lady because she knew exactly who it was.
She did.
I think we just have to make sure we look at it like historically, like what was going on, black women coming up in the industries back then. Because you got to think this is also around the time Boomerang came out and all of that. So you got this image of black men making it and then they leave their person. I'm not going to say the song because he in time out right now.
That's what I was just going to say. That's real popular. That was real popular then.
But I think that is why it was such a big thing, not staying with the person who got you there. Not saying that you got to, but the way he went about it was real foul.
Yeah.
Well, she was the starter wife or the come up wife. That's a concept that, is real in a lot of circles. So she helped him get on.
Yeah.
And then he
did what he did. Because we're not
I know.
publicizing him right now.
Left her butt.
I know. But it was like the more she kept thinking about it, the more fired up it got her.
Yeah.
And
stages of grief.
It made me feel even more of her pain because like she got some strength from somewhere, of course, so she can get up and get her children on the bus. And just to look at the way she was presenting herself in that moment, I was like, man, like that's pain right there. Because you hadn't combed your hair, you outside in your robe. That would not have happened had this not been going on in your life.
right. And, there's a lot of, I played backup to him. I dimmed my light so that he could shine. Because the way it sounds like she was the stronger business minded person. And then he, I guess once the ball was rolling, was able to kind of take it and run. But the jumping off, it sounds like she was kind of the catalyst to
That's a
kind of getting
session
there.
we need to do right there. While we dumb ourselves down for the men we love.
That is true.
And
And
then the rage came.
yes, because she knew, and somehow with his OCD or OCPD behind, knew the number of times that they had coitus.
Yes.
First of all, I'm not going to go there.
I was like, what? Hold on. Like, you
Why
have
are
a
you
specific
counting?
number.
Yes.
Like, not even like around 1,000.
Because he's performance based.
She was like 732. I was like, what?
Say that again.
Mm-hmm.
Performance based.
I was like, wow. And then you had the nerve to tell her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if you're going to weirdly keep that kind of information, why are you sharing it?
It's weird. It's very weird.
Again, the backstory on this couple, like, they could have had their own movie.
Yeah.
Like, that could have been a spinoff movie for real.
Yeah.
They both still alive. Look, we can make them up.
If they can do Best Man 15 years later,
and they look the same.
we could do this.
They about to do the third one.
Yeah, this is supposed to be the last one, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So then, of course, the most iconic scene in Black film history, or one of, if not, it's definitely a top 10.
Yes.
She throw all them clothes in the car, set them clothes on fire, threw that match in there.
Not that match.
I mean,
cigarette.
Cigarette. That's right, cigarette.
And then walked off with her bad self.
With the flames just
My part is
blazing
after
in the back.
When doorbell ring and she like, and so like that's my part.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that Angela Bassett. I just love Angela.
Because this was around the same time as What's Love Got to Do with It.
She had just got the Tina Turner body.
I was like, look at her. She got that strength.
Yes.
I was like, oh man, it's iconic. So then we go back to Robin, and I was like, oh my God. As of right now in this film, her and Savannah are like running against each other for the pick-me vibes. I mean,
yes, they are.
I was like, you're willing to have relations with a man that you have zero attraction to, not even just physically. You don't even like this fool.
And he has a micro penis.
Like, there's nothing.
And he's a cornball.
There was nothing about him that she was attracted to.
This is a perfect example of what we talked about in Shrink Wrap with Trish, when it's a good guy or nice guy or whatever, and it really ain't a nice guy.
As we will later see.
Yeah.
Pure trash. But, you know, she's trying to secure herself in some sort of way. She doesn't want to be alone. So she's giving this guy a chance. And he, you know, does the do with her. And it's just, he was sweating all on it. And
I know.
It wasn't the good kind of sweat either. It was that like, oh, you nasty kind of sweat.
Like you don't even have you don't have verbal game. You don't have sex game. Like something's got to, even if you're not an attractive person, you can still win someone over, but you got to have something to win them over with.
Because I was like, he was so inept. I don't even know how it happened.
Right. Like, you didn't try to take the woman clothes off, nothing.
She was down on her luck. No way to win. Trying to make it. Shout out to Tyler Perry for those lyrics.
Okay. But,
it was gross. It really made my mouth water in a bad way.
It grossed me out. It grossed me out.
It's like, the dinner I ate is about to come back up. Yeah, it was just, it was bad. Because in my notes I wrote, how many times do women put themselves in this position? You know, we talk about, you can be coerced by another person, but you can also coerce yourself into making a very poor decision because of whatever it is I want. I'm trying to escape from. I'm trying to avoid. You know, I can convince myself that engaging in this behavior is the lesser of whatever evil.
And I would have to say on his part too, like, how many men put themselves in that position of knowing that this woman is not attracted to you?
Because you can't be that oblivious,
right?
You don't feel the energy that she's like, you know,
wasn't oblivious,
recoiling,
right?
If he had continued acting the way he acted before they became intimate, I'd have been like, cool, you get a pass. But when that boardroom etiquette changed, I'm like, oh, okay. You want me to kick you in your chest like Sparta?
Yeah, because I was just like, because after, he had his little whatever
moment wanting to have a talk.
Yeah. It, on the surface, seemed like he was really interested in...
How do you feel?
Yeah, like his whole energy changed, his vibe, and he actually made her feel
seen,
wanted, needed, appreciated,
and like she could try with him.
Right.
Yeah, I bet he made a podcast after that.
Because they is definitely out here doing that.
Because she said, he kissed her softly, and she squeezed real tight.
The level of Kegel she had to do.
Man. That's horrible. That's so horrible.
Like, how you keep your legs open if you got squeezed that hard?
You might have just the big O just based off the Kegel exercise.
Shoot.
They won't even him.
Right.
Exactly.
But this also made me think about, there's a Jill Scott song that, I wish I knew the name of it, but she talks about how she uses her sexuality as like, this is mine and I'm powerful and, you can't tell me and I'm putting it down.
What's the lyrics?
Shoot.
Is it the one with Paul Wall?
Let me look. Hold on. It's so much going on in the world right now, and we could all use some extra support. At Balanced Beacon, we offer counseling services for individuals, couples, families, and groups. If you're in Texas, give us a call at 214-396-6503 or visit our website at www.balancedbeacon.com for more information. All right, so I did my little research, y'all. I found a song. It's called Epiphany by Jill Scott. So in this song, what she's talking about is how she is this goddess and like, I got these dudes, falling at my feet and I'm tearing them up. Like I'm just knocking them down. They love my, vagine. I got this thing on lock. And I'm making them quiver. I'm making their toes curl out here. But at the very last line of the song, she says, but why do I feel so empty? And that when I was watching this scene with Robin and Michael, that was the first thing that popped into my head is she oozes sex appeal. Like there's everything about her just says this is a beautiful, sexy woman. But everything in her romantic relationships is pure nothingness. It's empty. And I was like, you know what? That is one of those things where who taught you that? Who taught you that this was the way for you to catch somebody? Like, what did she see? What did she learn? What did her previous relationships tell her that this was the method to grab somebody?
Toxic femininity.
That too. Definitely. I didn't think about that. But it definitely is a societal thing, I think, that we've taught a lot of women, especially the over-sexualization of Black women too.
I think all four of these women had an internal dialogue that was unhealthy.
Of course.
Oh, for sure. Completely agree. But, after this little sexcapade,
can we call it that?
Yeah. We can call it a sexcapade. There we go.
Thank you.
Now, this is one of those times where this scene cuts in between another scene. So this doesn't immediately follow the sex scene, but we're just going to tie it together. It flows in between another scene. So we see him at the boardroom and she giving her little presentation and, she thinking she doing her thing. And then here he come. I reviewed the numbers and, looks like you're wrong.
Shut up, Michael.
And she was like, what? And here he go looking at her with the like,
I'm just doing my job.
I'm just doing my job. And I was like, you're trash, dude. You're trash. Thank you for pointing out the nice guy. You used the nice guy finish last bit on her and it worked. Because this is just me. My sole purpose at that company from that moment forward would have been getting him up out of there. But she did though. No, he quit or he got fired.
I can't remember.
Because when they were in the club, she said something about it, but I can't remember if she said quit or fired. Because that would have been...
He probably got fired.
I would have had lasers. Like, oh, this is what we doing. Oh, so you thought you was going... Got it.
Well, he seems like a brown noser. So, you know what I mean? Like, his skill set wasn't really applicable anywhere. So, work,
romantic,
anything.
Mm-hmm.
Grody. Just sorry.
So we go back to, that's why we said this was in between another set of scenes. So Savannah and Bernie are just chilling at the house. So, Savannah goes to go support her girl. Because she like, look,
somebody finally get to the house. My goodness.
She just laid up in filth.
Okay. She like, look, nah, we can't be doing this, girl. She out there watching the home movies.
I know. I was like,
just reminiscing.
Reminiscing on the love they had.
You took it out of my head. Because I sure was thinking it. One of the things that she was saying is she thought that they would be what each other needed. And, we get into a lot of people get into these type of build a person relationships, not realizing that you got to come as two whole people. Two half people don't make a whole person. And she got caught up in the idea of the Jerry Maguire. You complete me. Like, no person can complete you. You got to come already completed.
Another thing that I like that she said in this scene too was, it's amazing what can happen when you give a man a control over your life. I was like, you just said something right there. No shade to any person who decides to be a housewife or a house husband. That the control factor for me is why I would never be able to be one. Because I need to make my own. I need to know that if something were to happen, whether it's through death, divorce, separation, whatever, I will be able to take care of myself. And whether or not you decide or the court decide to require you to give me spousal support, I don't have to depend on you because I make my own.
So true.
And I like that she took responsibility for herself too. She said, I can't pretend that it's all John's fault. And she can't, because he may have, I guess, coerced you to help him in his career. But did he? Or did he just ask and you took it upon yourself to leave your career out?
She believed in a dream. But the thing is, you have to formulate multiple dreams when you are in a marriage. You can't just do one or the other because it doesn't work out well.
Yeah.
True.
And then I like that her friend was Savannah, sorry. I like that Savannah asked her a hard question that you typically don't want to answer. Like, are you scared? Because you don't have no money.
Right.
Or a career.
Yeah.
And even if you do have a degree, you have not worked in your career.
Yeah. So you are starting from the beginning.
Yes.
All the way over. It's a true Tina Turner story all over again.
Just... No, going upside your head or drug use.
Right. The theme is the same. Maybe not the specifics, but but she definitely plays that character well. Then we cut over to Miss Gloria, and her baby daddy shows up to see his son. Truly, just to see his son. But because she has an unlovability theme, she's going to put herself out there in ways that are so embarrassing.
It's
the second hand, it is ex-husband.
Yeah.
The second hand embarrassment is deep in this scene.
Yeah.
Cause she is just rubbing on him. I mean, she done got the joint set up. Like
done sent the kid to the friend house.
But this is also an example of when you're done, be done. And don't keep coming back, because it is easy to get back in bed with somebody. And I think both of them were being sexually intimate well past when they should have. And I'm not saying that as soon as the divorce is over, they had to stop having sex, but it was important that, okay, once stuff started to change, both people should have been verbalizing and communicating like, hey, this is no longer mutually beneficial.
Yeah.
I have other feelings going on in this area, or hey, I want more, so that this shouldn't have still been happening.
Well, because he couldn't even perform the last time.
Because he's
not attracted to women.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't that he wasn't attracted to her. He's not attracted to women.
Yeah. Which is really probably the reason why they got divorced, even though that may not have been what was shared at the time of the divorce, but that probably is literally the reason. You know, a lot of people get married and they do think that you are their person, but sometimes they do forget to consider their sexuality romantically and sexually, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Man, that's a tough one though.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can only imagine. We don't know if she knew that he was bi before they got married.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like she was aware at the time of this scene.
Yes.
So we don't know when she found out.
Mm-hmm.
So the part about him not liking women at all, I'm not including that in this statement.
Mm-hmm.
But I can only imagine the hurt that you would learn that your partner, like there's something that you can never give this person.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter how much you try. It doesn't matter how much you want to. There's literally nothing you could ever do that would satisfy that portion for that person.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, the more you try, the less you're going to feel about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to continue to think it's you. Because even in her little montage of like what she was thinking, she was saying, I hope that he does me a favor by spending the night.
Yeah.
And wanted him to be merciful on her. Like, what?
Mm-hmm.
What are you saying?
Don't allow your need to be chosen to outweigh your common sense.
Because it clearly did here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's that, law of attraction. It's not specifically the law of attraction, but the more you pursue something, the more you want something. If that thing didn't want you, the more you're going to repel it away from you.
Mm-hmm.
So the more she continues to pursue him and say, I want you, please stay with me, please, 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 please love me, the more he's going to start to despise her.
Which he couldn't even give her a compliment other than, oh, you look healthy.
But then backdoored it with, basically, you look, you're looking a little big too.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But she kind of introduced that as well.
Oh, David, get your life together.
But what I am appreciative of in this scene, despite how unfortunate it is, that this time he said no. Like, firm. Yeah. This is not happening anymore. Like, you cannot do this, and I will not be coming back. Like, he finally got to that point what you were just talking about. Like, he finally said, this is not happening anymore. This is who I am, and that is not changing. And our relationship of any sort from here is done.
Yeah.
And if our son wants to speak to me, then he knows how to reach me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially because at this age, why are they still acting like he's 5?
Because he should be able to contact him on his own at this point.
Agreed. So that was Miss Gloria. Again, scene. Savannah and I still did not write this man's name down.
Lionel.
I just put dude from New Year's Eve.
Lionel. But Bernadine's yard sale was first.
Oh, see,
not that we have to talk about it because
there wasn't.
But she sold that car for $1.
Yeah, because I was like, there wasn't anything major going on there other than the kids were there and she was just selling everything.
Now that wasn't smart. I get that you want to get that stuff out, but you are in an affluent neighborhood and you have some quality items,
golf clubs,
and you don't have no money yet. I want to have funds to be able to take care of my kids,
especially until you go to court and get whatever sentence they're gonna do.
And get a job,
that. So yes, if anything, it wasn't the wisest money move.
That was definitely a hurt move.
It was like, I'm gonna get you back.
So
I'm gonna sell your golf clubs because golf clubs are not cheap,
right?
For $1. That man was like, I don't mind if I do. So then Savannah and Lionel from the New Year's Eve, I said, man, this movie should have been called Pick Me.
God.
Yes. Here we go again with another trash
First of all, you done used my toothbrush?
ew.
That is so gross. That like, oh.
What would possess you to pick up? I wish my husband would pick up and we've been married a long time. I wish he would pick my toothbrush up and put it in his mouth.
First of all, I did not give you consent to do that. So stop it.
Yeah.
You okay.
Just nasty.
Ugh.
Yo, and he was going to town with it too.
Yes,
it wasn't like
his
it wasn't like he just went just to get the little freshness on there. No, he was brushing. Like he had asparagus and like garlic toast.
Oh,
or like he was eating from the movie White Chicks. You remember? She said, "Oh, give me fries smothered in
no, he had some
smothered in onions."
He had some of them chitlins and hog maws from Boomerang.
As I was like, he was going to town with that toothbrush.
Yes, he was.
And she was really sitting on that bed trying to convince herself, yeah, this is going to be worth it. And it was all of literally like 15 seconds.
But before then, she started giving us the rundown of what was wrong with him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, ma'am, what? And then y'all had unprotected coitus.
They did. And this was the 90s because Robin was like, oh, yeah, no.
Right.
No glove, no love. Because, you know, that was the slogan back then.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did. And I was like, oh, man. Not in the 90s. You know, the 3 letters was taking people out heavy back then.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Because this is still the mid 90s. This ain't even like the late 90s. But, you know, we digress. So they have the coitus, and it was trashola.
Yeah.
And
She's talking about some
See, it was at this point that you knew Whitney Houston was a totally different person than she had been portraying these years. Like, we see you, Whit. We see you.
You see me side.
Because her face was like what?
What is? Are you even there?
Because it was even like even she was like, the acting of this is even horrible.
Wasn't he growling?
Yeah,
that's why she was like,
oh, but you know, this really be the kind of stuff going on in women's head though, for real.
That's when you get that push, that mush in your head. Go back, get off me.
Yeah. Like, so men, take note. Like, this be the kind of stuff that be happening when it's not going well.
Yeah.
And you be like,
this is not a movie. It is actually emulating real life.
Yeah. You be laying there like, I need to go to the grocery store after this. Make sure I get some asparagus next time. Not pineapples.
Not
and
asparagus.
Salmon.
Oh.
And salmon. Oh, Lord. You know, we play. Then there's the boardroom scene.
Man.
Woo. She came in there with the fire.
She slapped Jesus out of that lady.
She did.
Looked good, though. She did look good.
She did.
She did.
She needed to be slapped. Because this
is the second, at least that we know of.
Well, even if it's not, I don't care if it's the first, you knew he was married.
Because she was a secretary.
Right.
Yeah.
You knew.
So you done seen me.
Yeah.
And my thing is, if you, like I said on the mistress, pick me, whatever session, if you gonna choose that role, play it correctly. You didn't play your role right.
Yeah.
Kathleen.
She did. She slapped the fire out that woman. And clear the boardroom.
And they still respected her enough to get out.
Just like Diamond said, everybody out the dressing room, please. That's how she had cleared that boardroom.
Yeah, she did.
With her no acting stuff.
That's my movie now. Diamond.
I love the movie,
okay,
but
now,
I'm just
like,
saying.
hold up now. That's my movie right there. I don't think it's worth M&B, but
I mean, we can watch it.
Yeah, but that's my joint. Everybody out the dressing room, please. But so she cleared that boardroom. And then went in on him like, how dare you, sir? You have 2 children.
And you emptied the bank? What?
Like, despite whatever is happening, and that's the level of selfishness, petty, and vindictiveness I did not like there. Mm-hmm. Because despite whatever's happening between you and your wife and why you guys are divorcing, you still have 2 children that have to be taken care of.
They apparently they pay for them to go to school. So what, you want them to move out of their school?
Like, your children live a privileged lifestyle. If your mortgage was $5,000 in 1995, I can't even imagine the size of that house.
I'm trying to figure out what he thought he was doing when Arizona is a community property state.
That too.
Sir, you can move it wherever you want to. It was acquired during this marriage. So half of it is mine.
Ah,
Anyway,
we're not talking about him either. Again, dang it, because he got the quotables in there. Sir. But anyway, yeah, she's getting half.
And in this situation, she actually does deserve it because she helped him build the company.
Right. And he was the one who chose to step out.
She was in the gym shooting. Or how they be like, well, you wasn't in the gym shooting with me.
Right.
She was.
Yep.
She was in that gym just like Jeff Bezos' wife was.
And what she leave with?
All of it.
Okay.
Well, not all of it.
She left with half too. Man, Jesus. And so did Bill Gates' wife too. She walked away with half too. And then donated her stuff.
Oh, dang.
To HBCUs.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Okay. Or was that Bezos?
No, that was
wife?
Bezos.
That was Bezos' wife. She said, I'll take half and then donate. I don't want, just so you know, sir.
Because she's smart. She didn't need to mess up her tax bracket.
I know that's right.
Tax write-off.
The intelligence.
For me. But this was another iconic moment where he said that she should be worried. And he was like, she said,
no, he said, I'm not worried.
Oh, he said, I'm not worried. And she said, hell, I'm not worried. But you, on the other hand, should be. And walked off with that little hair flip too.
Girl, when I say I love Angela Bassett, she be acting like she really married to these people.
She's a method actor.
She's up there with, his real name is Denzel. Denzel Washington.
I was like,
what?
I saw that too.
I was like, we've been saying this man's name wrong all these years, so I'm gonna call him by his real name.
His natty name him Denzel.
So I'm gonna call him Denzel. So it's just like she really gets into her characters, and I was like, man, this is believable. Anytime she plays something, I'm like, okay, yeah, you are who you say you are.
Yes, Angela Bassett.
Yeah, she's good. How she doesn't have an Oscar is beyond me. At least an Oscar.
Yeah. And side note on her, when people say she always act the same, she is the same person. When I watch Denzel, he act the same too. He just different characters.
Yeah.
It's the same man.
Yeah.
Yeah. She definitely been deserved one.
Oh yeah.
So then after this,
we get to Gloria.
I was like, oh, this scene didn't age well. But keep it in context. Keep it in context. For 1995, this type of language was the norm in 1995. So we don't need no warriors coming after us. Okay. So this was contextual for 1995. But he was upset that his father was gay. But I was like, I didn't like the way she slipped it.
I don't feel like it was hers to tell in the first place.
I don't feel like it was necessary. Like, how did that get, just because you got
it was spite.
Yeah. I just didn't like. I was like, why?
Like, I don't know why she connected him getting,
the sloppy toppy.
Yeah, and his father. Like, you mad at his father, but that ain't got nothing to do with him. Like. I didn't understand how she let that slip, because that wasn't even. I could see if he was getting it by another man, maybe, but he wasn't.
Yeah, she had triangulated her son. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of like you putting him in a position that he's not ever going to be in with you. He is not the man of the house. Like I that irks me when people do that.
So maybe she was correlating the hurt.
Yeah.
But why you hurt? Because your son,
because he's growing up
empty nester.
Yeah,
you're leaving me.
She compounded, muddied all that she was experiencing, which all of them were important to process through. But ma'am, that is not your husband. That is your son,
right?
And that's the problem with a lot of people. They be putting their kids in a position that they should never be in. That's incestuous. Okay, stop it.
It is. So in this next scene, this is where we toggle with Michael. This is really where the Michael scene in the boardroom, and Bernie at her lawyers are kind of flipping back and forth. But so since we already talked about Michael in the boardroom, we're just gonna focus on Bernie in the lawyer room. And I was like, man, she's gonna have an uphill battle, because I was listening to something a couple of days ago, and they were talking about when people, it was Abba and Preach actually, and they were talking about when people start making a certain amount of money, you start moving different and you start acting different. And you and I had this conversation somewhat the other day, and I was like, of course her husband's going to fight. He's in a different mindset than he was when y'all got together. Yep. If y'all had gotten divorced when y'all were both broke, y'all probably would have split up and nothing would have happened. And it would have just went y'all separate ways. But because you now have assets that matter and mean something, there's a certain level of possession that starts to come with those assets. Yep. So I'm going to fight harder for them because in my mind, they're mine. Yep. Not yours, not ours, they're mine. And that seems like that's the mindset that he took on. And his children just got umbrellaed up underneath the wife, unfortunately. Yeah. But then we also get one of the next scenes is where she go get her hair cut.
When she just took
another iconic moment.
When she just took the scissors and started cutting her own hair, and then Gloria then started taking piece and cut. Gloria, you not doing haircut scene good because that is. Not
she should have just went ahead and said, "Cut right here, then in the front, right in the front."
Right, yeah, something better than what she was doing because that didn't look. You didn't act that one right.
And I was like, she didn't even cut it that short. I mean, she cut off a good chunk.
A lot, yeah.
But she still had some hang time, even what she cut.
Yep.
Well, when black women start cutting on their hair, it's over. It is over.
That's what I've heard. That's what they say.
Yeah.
I already did it.
Like, look, let me go ahead and get this good old pixie cut. She like, I've been growing your hair for 11 years. Because people, man, do you understand how many years your hair has to grow to get that level of hang time?
Yeah. And be thick.
It made me think about, man, I don't know if I could ever cut my hair. I've been growing my hair about the same amount of time. My hair is probably about as long as hers was in the movie, or maybe even a slight bit longer.
I don't even
and
want to
I'm
talk
like,
about it.
That's like, again, 12 years of hair growth. Like, that's a long time to be like, you know what? I'm going to go to a pixie cut.
And you didn't have no medical issue or nothing. I was still mad when I had to cut mine, and I had to cut mine.
That's a bold. I mean, I don't know if you could be more done than that.
You like, I don't want none of this. And if you think of it from a place of like different cultures, like Cherokee culture, native culture, and other things like that, you cut your hair in pivotal moments of your life because you no longer want to carry that with you because it has experienced everything that you've experienced. So it is cathartic,
Well, I think it also represented what he wanted.
Yeah.
What he wanted her to look like, what she assumed he wanted her to look like.
You make an important point there. You gotta, like a snake skin, you gotta shed it off. Which she did. And then they go to happy hour. She was ready.
She
ready.
Fly. She was fly.
And they were just talking bad about my girl hair. But Gloria was flip-flopping though.
Oh, I don't like it.
And then Savannah was like, well, I kind of like... No, Robin said, I like it. And then, yeah, girl, it is all right, ain't it? I said, oh, flip-flop.
I know.
She indecisive in this movie.
She was. I was like, you didn't even want to cut it. Talking about, yeah, I kind of like it.
I know.
And then I was like, why is you dancing all up on, what was his name? Haybert, whoever the man was.
I didn't even write his name down.
Yeah. Because he was married.
Right. I said the same. I was like, Bernie, what are you doing? This just happened to you. You know how another woman, you know how this feels. What are you doing?
That I didn't appreciate because that woman, for all we know, this woman has done nothing to you. And she talking about, oh, he's harmless. Oh, and ma'am.
That doesn't matter. You're flirting with a married man. And you're an attractive woman.
Yes. Yeah, I didn't like it. But other than that, there's really not much to the scene. We see Michael come in with his little dip thing. And she was just like, Robin was just like, ugh. And they was like, Bernie came back, girl, look at Michael.
I know.
Did you see him? I would be like,
Bernie.
Like the truly married friend she was.
I'm like, you see he with another girl, though. Do you think your girl gonna like that?
And do you think it went well between us?
Right.
If you see this over here, how out of the loop are you?
Yeah.
But she was also a little tip.
True that.
Mm-hmm. So then we enter Troy.
First of all, he just looked dirty.
Yeah.
Like,
cast, the costume director did really well with him and his character.
Yes.
Because he looked exactly like the character he played.
Oh, gosh.
So one thing I was telling Dr. Jones Hines was when I was watching this film, I was like, this white dress is so beautiful to me. Even, 27 years later.
It's very classic.
Yeah. It's very classic. Because I was like, I would rock that joint today, if I didn't have all the extra body that I got right now.
If you don't be quiet.
If I had less body, I'd be in it.
But the embarrassment of, sir, we just walked in the house. And you doing too much
already.
It gave me creepy vibes. No, I can't stay here with you. Now, what is that? No, don't do that.
Like, what are you doing? Like, hold on. Is that the Coco? Because it sure looked like it. And yeah.
It was too much going on with that man.
It was just a lot.
And my thing is, she immediately, this is one of those things where we're telling you all to pay attention to your instincts. This is definitely one of those, because she immediately felt uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. And she followed that instinct. For once, she actually listened to her gut and was like, I'm ready to go now. And
I was glad. I was like, thank you for taking up for yourself.
And they left.
Yes.
So even though he was a little elevated, he wasn't so elevated that he couldn't follow through and take her home.
He was riding that white horse.
He was.
And I'm like, the amount of bravery you have. You are on a whole new date. And you doing that in front of this y'all's first date. Well, from what we can tell, it's your first date. And that's what you do?
Yeah, no, she said it was their first date.
That's what dating look like now.
Oh.
I wish they could see my face.
They will next week.
Yeah, the blankness that was there.
I
like,
just can't even.
What? It's too bad. It's so sad. There was another part in here because he also talks about meeting his family. And I was like, when are people going to start realizing that meeting someone's family doesn't always mean what you think it means?
Because she flipped when he said, well, what am I supposed to tell my mama? I said you was going to come and meet her next week. You just met me.
Yeah. Like, meeting family doesn't always mean what you think it means. It doesn't always mean that this man is in love with you, going to marry you. For some people, like, their family member is just extra people in their life.
Or it's one of those moments where I need my family's opinion to see if I want to continue with you.
That too.
Don't take me early, because that might be bad for you. Because if your family doing, I'm like, I don't need to mess with this too. Just let's get to know me. Let me get to know you. Then we can get there later.
Yeah,
I'm not in a rush.
Agreed. And I was like, man, trying to fix a man is gonna get you hurt, girl. Because you don't need no more basket cases or damaged individuals. So then we move on to Savannah gets a message from Allstate. And her mama
is a pick-me too.
Like, she must be like the OG pick-me. Because, like, you look up pick-me in the dictionary, and her mama got to be there with flashing lights, just
I was like, Mama, you are encouraging your daughter to have an affair with this man who is married.
Yes. And try to take him
from his children or child
and the wife.
And wife.
I know a family like this where the mama has done this multiple times.
I would have zero respect for mom. I don't even know if I could have a relationship with her. Like, I would have so little respect that you're not just encouraging me. You are almost demanding.
And you done gave this man my number.
Manipulating the situation to put this man back in my life.
Right. If he had to call you to get my number, then obviously I didn't want him to have it.
Mm-mm.
So just think of the amount of manipulation and kind of unhealthy, toxic mother behavior that could have gone between them before that.
Yeah. Because she even told her, every woman needs a man. No.
I wrote that down. I was like,
No, we don't.
Yeah, because Mom, you saying I need a man so bad that I should take somebody else's.
Share somebody else's, because he's not leaving his wife.
No.
And for the most part, so Bernie's husband is an exception to the rule. Because a lot of husbands don't leave their wives. The majority, if you look up the research, the majority of men that have affairs don't leave their wives. Now, that doesn't mean they won't continue to have affairs.
Right.
But they usually stay with their wife.
Which also makes me question what was really going on in the marriage. Because he left. Like, so something was going on that he wasn't.
You talking about Kenneth or?
No, Bernadine and what's her husband name? John.
Gotcha.
It was time for him to move up.
But yes, that's why I was like, we need some more backstory. They need a follow-up movie. Yeah, I just didn't like this. It just felt so, yeah, it's got a lot of nastiness on it.
It felt so unhealthy. And like that, it also gives me some information on why you are a pick-me and why your internal dialogue is so unhealthy.
Because look at how your mama did. So she was likely the same way.
Right, but you're single now, Mama.
No, she been single the whole time, so.
Yeah, as we will learn, that's one of Mom's things that she says later on, you know, I just don't want you to turn out like me. And it's like, so you don't want me to turn out like you, but then you're going to suggest I do things that will make me turn out like you? Like, give me the mental gymnastics on that one.
Because even if I'm not physically like you in, you know, not being married or being married, mentally I'm like you because you're teaching me that.
So then we just follow this up with another married man scene, and we see Bernie and Gloria, and we find that Bernie has had relations with the dude from the club. And Gloria mildly tries to hold her accountable. I don't know if, in my opinion, if it was strong enough. Because like you literally just, like your husband, you haven't even been through your divorce yet. Like you're in divorce proceedings for this exact reason.
Did she have an affair like sexually or was it romantic?
No, they just had sexual.
Oh.
You talking about Bernie and the dude from the...
Yeah.
It was just, I think it was just a one night, or at least that's what it seemed like.
A one night cheap stand? Okay. I know they had, I know they had something. I don't remember what it was though.
Yeah. I thought it was romantic. I'm going to have to go rewatch it again.
Yeah. See, I thought it was just because based on what she was like, girl, I don't nobody, you know, ain't nobody worried about him. Ain't nobody, you know, I'm just having fun.
Oh, because she did say it was like watching paint dry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm like, you
got him flip-flopped.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you literally are like, you serious? Like, how are you justifying this in your head?
Right.
Like, honestly and truly, how are you giving yourself license to do this thing that you are being left for?
Because you know his wife.
Yes. So she hauled off and came up to and slapped you.
You can't do nothing but take it. Because that was your decision.
Mm-hmm.
And he's married.
Yeah. They just going down bad in these next few scenes. Because we see Russell, who is Robin's weakness.
Yes.
She on the phone with Savannah, and she gives into this pressure, of course, because he called, and she gotta let him go. But she talking about Troy and how
she shouldn't
non-desirable
be
he
an
is,
addict.
right? And she just is oblivious. I'm like, Lord have mercy. She played that sunshine role so good
because she couldn't find her wallet, and Savannah was like,
"You think he stole it?"
Yes.
Yeah, that's the first name that will pop up in my head.
He shouldn't even know. Well, that was back in the day, but he shouldn't even know where you live.
Right.
Yes. There's so many red flags.
Yeah.
So many. Because this is when he show up with that leather vest on, and it looked like it's every bit of 120 outside. Ooh. Because everybody know in Arizona, it get hot. And he outside in a leather
looking
vest.
Even more like he stink.
Mm-hmm.
He needs some milk.
He need a
He
shave.
was struggling.
Yes. Yes. Because this is when he called her raggedy.
Yes.
And I will forever think that's hilarious.
The fact that she threw and hit him with that thing, though.
That orange?
Yes. The fact that he went up to the door like it was going to be unlocked.
Yeah. He played this scene.
Yeah,
I got to give it to him.
He did.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely played this scene. The costume designer, chef's kiss.
Mm-hmm.
Again, when it came to him in particular, touche. You did beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
But she let him go. Thank goodness she didn't feel the need to continue to invest in Troy.
But it was only because he was late.
That's true too, because she was sitting there waiting.
Mm-hmm.
She was gonna fall for it.
Yep.
Good pickup. I totally forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
But thank goodness he was late, because that saved her.
Right.
So his ineptness saved her. Jesus, so sad. So sad. So then finally we get to a point where Gloria sees and meets Marvin.
The late great
Gregory Hines.
Come on, tap dancer.
Mm-hmm. And she going over there trying to be nosy.
It's just switching.
Because she was, well, baby, them hips
was
going,
honey.
I wish I could walk the way she was walking. She was so dainty.
I know.
And she just trying to get all the business. And he like, and I hear he's kind of a, bit of a tool. She's like, But then, of course.
Gossiping neighbors.
But then, of course, she learns it's he. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden now he's sexy all of a sudden, because she won't pay him no mind when she thought he was the mover.
Right. Right.
But now she find out he the man across the street, and he's single. He's single.
I was just kidding.
Now she putting on because she was gone. She was in a Calgon, take me away.
Yes, because they started focusing on his lips.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, Bernie, we done. I mean, not Bernie, Gloria, we done switched real quick.
Because when they panned to her face when she was zoned out, it looked like she was zoned out for real.
It did. She was playing with her necklace and looking at dazed.
Yes, she was GONE. Gone. And she was like, excuse me? And then she said she was going to bring over him that plate. And I said, ma'am, that's Thanksgiving food.
I did too. I said she wanted him to come over and eat that whole Thanksgiving dinner.
I was like, why are you cooking Thanksgiving like on a Tuesday? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
That's you and your son eating all that? She said, oh, nothing but a little collard greens and then she just...
I'm like,
all that
beans,
stuff.
Greens, potatoes. Like, she just...
But that's classic church tactics to get a man.
Yeah,
Classic.
Yeah. Well, they
the way to his heart is through his stomach.
There you go. That's what they say.
Mm-hmm. Whoever they is.
Mm-hmm. So then he goes, okay, yeah, take me a little plate. So she goes, okay. So then she get to leave.
No. Hold on. You got to go back to that classic. She said, I shouldn't be eating it either with my big old self.
Oh yeah. He was like, I like me a thick woman.
My ex-wife was big.
Well, no, his wife was died.
Oh yeah. He was a widow.
He was a widow.
Yeah, it's two of them in this.
I mean, he was a widower. A widower. But when she walked away, she was, baby, them hips was really switching in.
And I did not realize until this time that he tripped over the box.
Yeah,
watching her.
I
didn't realize that the first time I seen this movie.
He said, "Oh, you better watch that big old thing." Shout out to Players Club again. And I was like, "Oh, look at that flirting! I love it. It's so cute." It's so much going on in the world right now, and we could all use some extra support. At Balanced Beacon, we offer counseling services for individuals, couples, families, and groups. If you're in Texas, give us a call at 214-396-6503 or visit our website at www.balancedbeacon.com for more information. Okay, so now Bernie and John are back in court, and as we come to learn, she gets a big old settlement because she has a good lawyer.
So the first one she didn't.
No,
she only got awarded $3,000, and the mortgage is $5,000.
Yes, I do remember that. And I was like, what kind of house y'all had in 1995 with a $5,000 mortgage? Because even in 2022. A $5,000 mortgage, that's still a big old house.
Yes.
At least if you living in the South.
And what do you need all of that house for?
Yeah. With just 2 people and 2 children. It's a lot.
When you banking, I guess you need all the rooms. You need a media room. You need a pool room. You need a man cave. You need a she shed. You need a...
At this point, I'm being a tiny house.
Yes.
Making millions.
Oh, yeah. But she was upset, rightfully so, because, they got kids. And if you paying $5,000 for a mortgage, it's pretty obvious your children go to private school.
Right. I can't even imagine the electricity bill.
And they in hot
Arizona.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So she go to the bar and
Phoenix.
She's smoking. Like, I was like, do Angela Bassett smoke for real? Because she
be smoking.
That's
what she be doing.
It looked a little too authentic. It looked real. So she was smoking, and then here comes Nino Brown, also known as Wesley Snipes.
Because we did not introduce him last time. But he's in this movie.
He is.
He's James.
And he comes sit beside her, and he is flirting with her.
He is.
He flirting hard. However,
she got that resting bee face on her face.
But even when you have a resting bee, somebody come in and make you laugh.
Yeah.
It's enough to, soften that appeared hard exterior.
Yeah.
And what I did appreciate about his character was that he did not lie to her. He said, I'm married. This is what's going on. My wife is sick. She has cancer. She's in the process of passing away. And he was very upfront with her and not trying to if you're cynical, you could probably see it as him trying to, use the sick card to get over, but he appeared genuine.
Yeah.
In his demeanor and all that kind of stuff.
And I could appreciate her honesty as well, as to why she was sitting there with the resting bee face, because she did say she once had something that meant everything to her, and she lost it, and she's pissed. And so I can appreciate her starting the dialogue of, look, like, you may be feeling tension coming from me, and this is why.
Because she had that cigarette, not like I'm smoking regular. She had that cigarette like that hang, that one with that hang time.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, do she really smoke? Because wasn't she smoking in Vampire in Brooklyn too?
She was. Ooh. And she smoked in What's Love Got to Do with It.
Yep.
Oh,
so
man.
at least back then she probably smoked for real.
Now
She may not
don't.
now, but back then
Mhm.
it looked like because it looked a little authentic. I'm telling you, it looked.
They didn't have them fake ones back then.
It looked real.
You gonna get all this
Because it come out the nose. That you had to inhale that to be able to.
and not choke.
Yeah, so I was like, it looks real. But one part in there, she was talking about her frustration with herself on not having a plan B.
Yes.
And I like that she acknowledged that. I'm not a stay-at-home mother or wife, but I can imagine that this is a major fear for a lot of stay-at-home spouses that one day, what if?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're essentially putting your faith in the future version of your significant other. And that's not necessarily always going to be the same person that you're making this agreement with today. And that is unfortunate. I feel like even if he didn't want to be with her, if he would have set up everything for her to be taken care of for a certain amount of time till she got on her feet, and of course the kids be taken care of, then I feel like that would have been like a good thing. You ain't got to give her all your money. I mean, you're going to give her a lot because she helped build this.
And I would even say, in addition to that, pay for her to go to school or pay for her to start her business or, whatever she was trying to start. I think either of those things would have gone well.
Especially because what she wants to do really doesn't require no whole bunch.
Because she had already had her degree, I believe.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, she wants to go into catering anyway, food.
Oh, okay.
So with that, it's not required that you go to school for that. Of course, a lot of people still do, but it sounds like she was already doing the things.
Yeah, it was a lot there, but
because he threw some nuggets at her too.
He did,
because he was like, he called her brave because she was sitting there looking like everything was all right. No, she wasn't, sir.
That's that. Like, I'm about to blow, and I'm trying to control and contain myself so that I don't go off on literally everybody that comes my direction. Because if not, I'm about to. Like, it's going to be consequences and repercussions up in here.
She's trying to hold a mule.
Exactly.
Yes. So, as we all know, later, there's like, again, this movie cuts in between. So there's stuff happening in between this scene, but we're just going to wrap this scene up. So we all know eventually that they go up to the room and they nervous. According to
Both
him,
of
he ain't never done this before. Although she has done this before, not with somebody that seems genuinely interested in her and is trying to be patient.
And he's never done this before, and he has not made love to a woman in a year.
So it's a lot of tension and nervousness going on in this particular scene here. And he confesses to her that he is married to a white woman because he's unsure if that's going to change her mind or the way she sees him. And I like, again, I cannot say that I like the situation, but I appreciate his honesty throughout.
Because he confessed in that moment that he still loves his wife. Yeah. And I could, when he said that, you could just see the hurt on her face because she was like, someone once felt like that about me.
Yeah.
Man, I was like, oh man.
Because she even said something to that effect.
She did.
Which, that's hard. There's always a finality to when you end a relationship with somebody. There's a finality and you never know when that's going to come. What moment's going to bring about that realization that this is the end. And I think hearing him say that for her was like, oh, my husband loves that woman.
Because he left.
Yeah. Like, that's it. Like, we're done. And to have to sink into that.
The other side of that kind of popped up in my head was maybe she was thinking, did he ever love me? Was
Good
he
point.
That is a good
just
point.
really about self the whole time? Because, in those types of situations, you're asking all the questions and you're kind of vacillating between, was it me? Was it him? Was it how I envisioned it, or was I living some other type of reality? You kind of just go through all those things, but you can definitely tell in this scene that she is having a bit of,
existential crisis.
Yeah, and she's comparing the situations because she is seeing, and I know it may sound weird for me to say this, but she's seeing a bit of honor in James in the way he's handling it. And I imagine they've already had some type of conversation about how to handle moving on, especially if she's been terminally ill for a year, because that's a long time to be terminally ill. It reminds me of Nene Leakes and her husband Greg in his final years, because that man fought real hard, but and Nene already got booze, plural. So some type of conversation had to have been had. So
of course, and you grieve along the way. You're of course going to have an ultimate end to grieve once the person is actually passed on, but you are grieving the whole time, because you have to start separating, especially if you are watching that person slowly deteriorate to that level.
Because you have to grieve different things. You have to grieve the person they used to be and face who they are now and what they're capable of and what they're not capable of. And then you have to continue. It's like every time they deteriorate, you have to grieve that person that's gone and realize who they are now.
As somebody who has a buttload of cancer in their family, how Dr. Jones, Hines, and Dr. Strickland are describing this is exactly what ends up going on. And you really have to navigate into new places of your caregiver and, hey, what do I need? What do they need? What is this looking like? How taxing is this on my person? Like, I remember my grandfather's passing, and it was hard. It was very difficult, not just because he was the patriarch of our family, but also to watch him struggle with, okay, my granddaughter is, having to, wipe me, or my granddaughter is having to, because at the end he could only eat yogurt, and he'd be like, nah. He'd be like, I don't want that. I want a burrito. And I'd be like, Papa, you can't have no burrito. Get somewhere and sit down. He talking about, you see me laying in this bed. And so, even until the end, he still did like little gestures, but I can definitely relate to Wesley Snipes' character in trying to figure out, okay, where do I go from here? Because this person has played such a big role. And ironically, as we're, recording this, like my grandfather's death anniversary was the 20th, so it's so ironic that I don't know how we be doing this every time. We be talking about stuff that be going on in our lives, and we be scheduling, the show topics way in advance.
That is so true.
That is true.
I don't understand.
We wouldn't even think about no death.
I know.
We just like it like that.
And you know what? The thing about it is they both were grieving, but they were both grieving for different reasons.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes, it was a lot of death. It wasn't just death of a person. It was death of a marriage, death of
who a person used to be. Career. Yeah.
It was a lot.
A lifestyle. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
her kids not being able to be with their daddy all the time, even though we assumed they probably weren't anyway. But having your father in house is totally different than having I got to go to daddy house this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. So they end up literally sleeping together, not in the colloquial sense of what that word means.
They closed their eyes and went night night
with their clothes on,
fully clothed, because he also had his shoes on in the bed.
But it was a good cuddle.
It was.
I said, where are those at? Where are those arms?
Because that's that like your arm fall asleep kind of cuddle. Like you wake up and it's stinging, they feel like you got static in your arm.
Yeah, and you done drooled a little bit on his chest. I'm sorry about that.
Let me wipe that for you.
It looked like a good sleep. It looked like a sleep that they both needed.
Yeah.
Rest.
Yeah.
Because there's a difference between closing your eyes for 8 hours and getting rest.
Yep.
Definitely.
Because there's a lot of times we all close our eyes for 8 hours and wake up and be like, okay, that happened.
You ain't never lied.
So I like the fact that they respected his marriage. You know, in the sense of not sleeping together.
But this also showed what they really needed was the emotional intimacy and not the sexual, because they were also able to have the sensual.
Yeah.
So when we've talked about in the past how important all those intimacies are, this is an example of that. What they thought they were needing was something that probably would have left them feeling even more empty, but they were actually able to connect and talk through the night. You know, them kind of conversations would be like, no, you go sleep first. You go to sleep first. But this is in, you know, face to face.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we move on to Savannah and
Poor child.
Allstate, Mr. Kenneth, and her trifling mama, who has once again given this man contact information, ways to reach her daughter again. And he does. And I'm like, girl, don't fall for it. But of course she does.
He show up in all the movies like this. When we was talking about him and not Girls Trip, but
Think Like a Man.
Think Like a Man, because he had to get mama together.
Did. So sad. But, you know, he just said, I needed to see you. And I'm like, no, you didn't.
You really didn't, sir.
You wanted to see her. You didn't need to see her. You wanted to. And because she is desperate and vulnerable and in such a high need for validation, she just let you right back in. Like it didn't even matter.
She fell right back into the web. Got caught.
And it ain't even like a sticky web. It's just like
she hanging on to it. Yeah.
Yeah, this one for me was real hard to stomach and watch it. I don't know what it was about this. I don't know if I felt like mom was pimping her out or something. I don't know, but it rubbed me the wrong way. I did not like this interaction at all.
It's because it's almost like a caricature of a pick-me. Like this is like, it seemed like the most extreme version of what that could be. And there probably are definitely women out there that are like that, but just seeing it in the way it was described in this movie, I was like, oh my God, this is ridiculous.
And I guess the other part was like when she got off the phone with her mom, she went outside with him and he was on the phone with his wife. And I'm just like, oh, like
and then you just stood there.
Yeah.
And waited
for him to finish talking to his wife.
But if you're going to play the mistress,
you got to play your part.
And she did, at least in this, as of right now.
Yeah.
She was playing the part of a true mistress. You wait until he is off the phone with his spouse, because that is not the role that you take. And I even cringe at saying that. But if that's where you're going to position yourself, then there are certain things that you have to understand because of that choice.
That's why I just don't understand. Why not go the route of polyamory? Like, everybody is coming to an agreement and you get to do what you want to do, how you want to do it. Not this line sneaking. First of all, you mess around and bring me something back, you ain't going to have some parts. Okay? It's not a threat, it's a promise.
That's because
like, you remember the 90s? There was a lady named Lorena.
Yeah.
That's
last
people
name
don't want
rhymed with stop it.
I don't have the energy for it, because I feel like, and I think y'all can attest to this, I am me. I'm very honest. I'm not hiding nothing from nobody. You don't have to like hide nothing from me. I will process it. If I'm popping off, something real bad done had to happen. I don't just do that out of the blue. Out of the blue. I was about to say out of the kindness of my heart.
I felt like that's what you were about to say.
Like,
so I was like,
don't go there.
Let me go ahead and interject that there.
So I just be like, how you gonna do your wife like that? And then Savannah, how you gonna help him do his wife like that again?
Yeah, because this woman, as far as we know, we don't have the backstory, this woman's done nothing to you. And we're not sure if she knows about Savannah or not, but this woman has not done anything to you to deserve you participating in something that's going to or already has hurt her because despite whatever he's told you, whatever's happening in their marriage is their issue. And it's not an issue for you to get involved with. You know, he needs to deal with whatever his junk they got going on at home without involving other people and just go be free. But, you know, people want to have their cake and eat it too. So.
Yeah.
But, you know, c'est la vie. So then we see, of course, more of Gloria and Marvin, and they're hitting it off, and they just look so cute because he's like fixing stuff around the house, and she's all giddy and happy. And it's a short little scene, but I liked that they put that there to show that one of the ladies is engaging in something healthy.
Yes.
And is starting to blossom in who she is and become more comfortable being herself.
Yeah.
So like I said, it was a short little scene, but I liked it. And I also liked it. Is this the part where he holds her accountable?
Yes. About not letting Tarik go to Spain.
Yeah.
It's not immediately right there. It's a scene between them, but then we can put...
I hate that.
Yeah.
Just put it together.
Yeah, we can just put it together.
So she's still up in the air about her son going off to wherever it was he wanted. Spain. Okay. To go with the band band, right? And she wanted a man, right? So if we're going with traditional gender roles, she wanted a man. So as the man, he told her, "You're smothering him. You need to let him grow up and basically play your role as his mother. You are not his spouse. You are not his girlfriend. You are not his sister. You are his mother. And it is his job to grow up and go away from you."
Yeah.
And I was like, she got mad at that. And she got mad because he was being the man that her son needed him to be. Because her son needed him to be a man to show him how to fix stuff, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But he also needed him to be a man for her. Yeah. So that she can stop thinking her son was her man.
Yeah, I think that's a mistake that many women make when they are, they have sons or even daughters at this point. They put them in that role like we talked about earlier, and they don't make space for the partner that they keep talking about they want. Now, what I will say with Loretta Devine's characters that she plays is that I love when she get called out, she'd be like, okay. Like after she done got it together, and then she'd be like, okay. Because she cracks me up every time she is in a relationship in her roles.
Yeah. She's such a cute character. Because I think we talked about, remember one time before who you would pick as your mom?
Yeah.
It's like, she has mom vibes.
She does.
She really does. I mean, she also has grandma vibes too.
Well, she's transitioning. Not to death, y'all. I mean, like
from middle age. She's going from middle age into seniorhood.
Yes, because we're not trying to get rid of no more greats.
No,
okay, we need them to stay.
Yes,
but yeah, she definitely has the vibes. I love it though.
Yeah,
and I appreciated that Marvin was not afraid to say what needed to be said to her. Versus trying to tiptoe around her feelings and placate her, like it sounds like her ex did for many years. That he was like, nah, we gonna stop this right now. You need to let your son grow up and become a man, because he's not one yet, but he needs to become one.
Marvin was ready. He was like, hey, my wife gone. I'm gonna need you to be, if we gonna be together, get it right, get it together. We're not doing all of that for play.
Yeah.
So then it ends up being, whose birthday is it?
Is it Savannah's? Wait,
I can't remember whose birthday it was.
I think it was Savannah, because she was like, and I still look, Gloria.
Was it Gloria?
It was Gloria's birthday?
They blend in together.
They are. Well, it was a birthday. And all four of the ladies are together. And, it's a vibe. They were having a good time and things are great. One thing I looked at and I was like, oh, blowing on that cake. Boy, have times changed.
It's the COVID for me.
Yeah.
I was like,
she spit on that whole cake.
I was like,
she didn't know he was in a panini press.
Because I was like, man, in these days, people be like, here, just pull them out actually, here, we gave you a cupcake with 2 numbers on it, and you can just blow out your own little set.
Don't even put them on it. Just make it cute and tasty.
And just, hey, that's what I said. Just hand me the numbers, and I'll over here.
Right.
Don't even do that, because then you're spreading the particles in the shared air. We already breathe in shared air. Don't forcefully put them out there to us. Just keep them on.
They got energy.
Just a flick. The flick of the wrist. Really, it's the flick of the fingers. But every time I see that now, even when kids be doing, I say,
do too.
Just get them a smash cake. Don't have them spitting all on the piece of cake you want me to eat with this hot blue icing on it.
The worst icing, side note, the worst icing colors ever are black, purple, blue, and green.
Red is bitter too.
Red is bitter too. The only halfway decent one is yellow and white.
I'm going to vote for caramel.
All the other icing colors are horrendous. They're so bitter. I think black is the worst, though. That one is.
I don't eat none of those.
I think black and purple are the. Oof.
I feel like if my lips and my teeth and tongue gonna turn different colors to that extreme, it can't be that drastic of a color. It's too much.
It is a lot.
We digress.
I'm sorry.
Y'all know how we are.
It just caught me off just thinking about cake. But anyway, they drank on, they're doing their thing. They having the girls in-home trip. And of course, as drinks get flowing, so do emotions.
Ooh, because Bernadine was over there stewing in them emotions, girl.
Because she had that cigarette on the long ash this time. Because I was like, is that going to fall off anytime? Because she had that. The long ash. She had it like sitting up high. So that's that when you thinking about it smoking. Not like when I'm, frustrated and it's at the lip smoking. This was high above like where the eyes is at.
She was even moving her fingers like that.
Yes. So that, and I don't even smoke.
She had that incense. That's what it was looking like.
That ash, because it was like.
And
it was going to drop at any point.
You can tell she smoked Slims. Whatever she's smoking. She's smoking them narrow, tiny ones.
I said, oh, Lord, it's coming. When the drinks get to flowing. And they did. So she was ready to go call on him. And
yes,
as Robin normally was, she was ready. She was like, yeah,
she was set on go as well. Come on, let's go.
Let's go.
Robin needs to sit down because her choice and men is horrible.
Yes. But of course, eventually they stop her. I believe it was Gloria, right?
Yep, because Savannah was still sitting on the couch.
So Gloria's like, get it together and get your mind right. And they stop her. And then, of course, she's, sad and crying and stuff again. And
change the mood of the party.
But then they have their kumbaya moment.
She tell me what happened to the music?
And then they start dancing. Hey, as 90s movies go. Gotta have a little dance scene. Hey. And then, of course, it's all good.
Yeah.
But I was glad that it showed again that you need your support system.
Yep.
That she was still going through it. She was still having a situation and she needed her girls.
And I like that her girls made space for her. They allowed her to have her emotions, and they did not allow her to engage in the behavior that she wanted to come from those emotions. Except for Robin.
Well, we all need that friend that's ready.
Right.
You just have to pull them back sometime.
Well, Gloria was like, Savannah, will you get her while I talk to her?
And then we have, these next few scenes, again, this movie cuts in between, but we've got Savannah and Kenneth, and she learns that he's maybe filing for divorce. Maybe. But he ain't. Yeah.
Because I think, isn't this the part where he found out that his wife is pregnant?
I don't remember that.
Because she said that it was when they were meeting outside. And she said, he said, now she thinks she's pregnant again or something. She said pregnant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember.
Yeah. Yes.
I be trying to block them out. So I don't.
Because it's a hot mess.
It maybe this wasn't it though.
I remember it now that you said it, but
that was the next time.
It's the next time. Yeah. But this is where she, they're talking somewhere, and he says, he actually says, I'm gonna divorce her, and but I believe this is where she's starting to get hip to it, and she's just like, oh, okay. And he's, did you hear me? I'm gonna leave her.
Because he wanted her to have a bigger reaction.
Because he thought she was gonna be on cloud nine. She's like, oh, okay. Well, that's good. I'm happy for you.
That's them niceties.
So we already talked about Gloria and Marvin, so we've already done that because that's the technical next scene. But we're gonna jump into Robin and Russell.
Oh God!
I said she's really playing herself.
You played yourself.
Delusional. If again, we said this a little bit earlier. Look at the statistics. Most men that have affairs do not leave their wife. And Russell has made it clear to you it sounds like many times over, he's not leaving his wife.
He's just baiting you.
Because whatever he's just a man whore. I'm sorry, Leon. That's it. Yeah. I mean, there's
in this scene. I mean, in this movie, he definitely
is.
It's not about what I'm not getting at home or what problems I'm having. Having an affair is a choice.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he would fit in perfectly in the manosphere in this particular character.
Oh yeah, he would have a podcast for real.
My thing is, if she suspected that he slept with his wife, why did you let him stay? So you okay with community penal?
Remember, she the other pick me though.
I know.
So yeah, of course she's gonna be okay with it.
Why?
Because he's showing me some modicum of attention. Because
she said he asked me for his pajamas. That's the first. Ma'am. Why? Why does he even have pajamas over there?
You're not getting no drawer. You ain't getting no closet space.
Desperado.
And then got the nerve to care that he was jealous because her little boyfriend was calling.
Oh, because she was like, he jealous.
Girl, don't nobody care about him being jealous.
I mean, she had that smirk on and everything.
She really did.
No, that's not cute.
His jealous is like, I'll go upside your head.
That's what I was thinking.
I was like, no,
you playing with fire, girl.
He ain't the one to play with.
That's exactly what I was thinking, because that energy that he had towards her, just the way, even though, Leon is fine, but the way he was looking at her in this film was just like, almost as if he was disgusted with her, but you're easy. You're an easy target. You're an easy sexual partner. So I don't have to put a lot of work in. So, but it appeared as if he really was like, ugh.
She's a potato chip.
Dang.
A Lay's.
Yeah. Dang.
Literally.
Yeah. I like how you put that. So yeah, that's her. So then we go on to,
y'all, I hate church scenes in movies. Y'all know I
didn't even write this one down because I didn't understand, other than announcing that he could go to Spain. I was like, what? They could have done this. Yeah, I was like, this could have been done any other way.
I mean, I get the why, but it wasn't necessary.
Yeah.
I think if they had shown a bigger role of church in Gloria's life, then I think that would have been more appropriate. Because I mean, we already kind of get the churchy vibe from her, the way she's cooking and taking care, all that stuff. So I don't think it was necessary.
Yeah, because I didn't even write it down.
I wrote it down, but I just wrote the fact that she told him that he'd go to Spain through the pastor.
Yeah. And then the ladies Savannah and Robin are somewhere. I don't know what they're doing. They're having
some sort of
girl day together.
Yeah.
And they're telling coded stories to one another versus just being straight up. But we learned that at one point in time, Robin was pregnant and,
did not follow through with the pregnancy
by choice. I was trying to find a thank you for that alley-oop there, because I was like, how do you say that without saying it? So she made that decision, and I felt bad for her, but then I was like,
she do make poor choices, but that doesn't negate what those type of decisions do to an individual. It is it can be very debilitating, which made sense for what happens later in the movie, how she decided to handle some things. So
so then the next scene, Bernie, I was gonna say Gloria, Bernie gets a letter from James, and
James,
he just kind of outlines how she changed him. And how because it seems like the letter was left at the hotel, and then the hotel forwarded it to her. It went out because I was looking at the envelope and stuff. It looked like it was from the hotel. But in it he's outlining kind of the update with his wife, what things have been going on as far as her illness is concerned. But he also talks about how wonderful and beautiful it was to meet her, and how she will always hold a place for him. And I was like, oh, she needed that.
It was so, I was like, man, that is a real mother right there, because she's reading the letter and in tune to the letter and in tune to her daughter. I was like, you better be a mama.
She was like, it's on the.
And then she was like, no, you can't say that word. She was like, well, why? And she was
because
she was literally having a conversation while reading this letter. I was like, okay,
yeah,
that's what mamas do.
I think Angela Bassett has children, doesn't she?
She had them after this. She adopted, I think, or had either adopted or had surrogacy. I can't remember, but I think she has a set of twins.
Okay.
Her and Vance.
But I appreciated that his follow through.
Oh yeah,
because I was like, oh.
He just seemed like a very kind and sweet person, and that is not something that you see regularly in movies.
No.
Yeah,
you don't. So she got her letter, and then we go back to Savannah and Kenneth.
And this was when she finds out
that like he not really gonna leave her, because this one he gave her the like, okay, so like if you give me like another year, I might. Pregnant. And it's like, you know what, dude, I'm done. I should have been done, but I'm definitely done.
Yeah.
And I'm leaving, and of course now he looking over there like, what? And shocked as if, what do you mean you're leaving me? I can't believe this. I told you I would leave her in another year.
No, you won't, because you're going to have a child, a 1-year-old.
Well, so not even a 1-year-old, a newborn, really.
True. Yes.
Because she got to get through the pregnancy first.
Yeah. I don't, because he didn't say how far along she was. But obviously, if he didn't know she was pregnant, she not showing.
Just trifling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Selfish.
I'm telling you, the amount of harm that would befall him.
Yeah, the narcissism. It's the level of narcissism for me.
The amount of disgust that I had toward her mama for this phone call that she made.
Oh yeah, this took the cake for the whole movie.
Yeah, I was done with mama.
You know who's not getting a Mother's Day card? You, ma'am.
Because that's almost enough to like stop speaking.
Yes.
Like you almost are begging me to take. You're begging me to take this man back,
who I can never have to myself.
And you're just saying he's in a bad way, he having a hard time, and you still on this BS, mama, of you can't take somebody from somebody else, but that's the language we use. So you want me to take this man from his wife and child, possibly children. And then what? Me and the wife are supposed to be kumbaya? We supposed to be good?
Because
become the Brady Bunch after that?
If she doesn't already know, she's going to find out that you was the mistress.
Right. So what we supposed to do then? Like,
this I just is not sister wives.
Or you just want me to be his concubine for the rest of my life.
And then he not saying that this is appropriate, but he not giving her nothing but peen.
Now.
That's it. Like, there is nothing else going on.
No.
Because what else could he give her?
Right.
She already successful in her own right.
Yeah.
So what she wants is to be married, to have a husband, and that is not something that he can give her.
But that's something that she didn't pay attention to either.
Yeah.
Because what you're praying to God for is not what you're seeking after, and it's not what you have out of him.
No.
No.
And I was like, I can't imagine ever speaking to my mama like that. But for this particular reason, I don't know if I would apologize.
What she did, I would have probably apologized for how I said it, and maybe cursing at her. But I meant it. If you want him so bad, then you go marry him.
Yeah. I don't know.
My level of, so if I'm looking at it from the perspective of the relationship I had with my mother, I probably would no longer speak to her because of the level of hurt that would cause me. Especially me knowing what my own mother has gone through, and the hurt being in certain relationships with dog men that you don't know are dogs, and then I'd have to put some distance. But luckily my mom ain't like that because she crazy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's what I was like.
She beat him before I got a chance.
I'm so glad my mom is not like that.
Not
but
at all.
If for some ridiculous reason she had like, a mental breakdown and like started suggesting that I, have a relationship with a married man, specifically the way this mother did.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I would be like, I think I'm done. Because this is only a snippet of what has probably happened throughout their relationship. Because if you have this blatant level of no F's given, then I can only imagine the other areas that you've been like this in. This is not like it's a one stop and you're only this way just when it comes to me being partnered with a person. There are other ways that you've probably supported me compromising myself. So this would have been like probably the final straw for me.
Now I can definitely see that. I think if that would have been a build up, because a person can only take so much.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Oh, it was just too much. So then Bernie wins in court.
1.5 million.
And 500,000 worth of stock options or something like that.
Second house, 500,000. A Mercedes goes to her.
She got half.
Yep.
As she should.
And he didn't look upset.
He didn't.
He was like, okay.
I think he knew better at this point. You're not dealing with old Bernie. You're dealing with a totally new beast.
Well, and hopefully you realize, okay, yeah, my kids do need to be taken care of if she's gonna be the custodial parent.
Because he ain't taking them over there to Miss Missy.
And she wasn't trying to be vindictive.
No, she just wanted what was due her.
Now, it'd be one thing if she was trying to put you out on the street.
Right.
Then I could see you fighting her hard, like that. But she literally just wanted all the years that I've put into this relationship. Shout out to Mary J. I just want my just due.
Yeah.
And that was it. And she got it.
Yeah.
So, good for her. Russell and Robin. He shows up again. She finally grew a backbone.
I clapped for her.
She finally grew a backbone. We learned that she is preggo again, supposedly by Russell.
And, which would make sense.
And she says that, her and the baby don't need him. And, get the stepping. And he did.
He did that fake, I'm about to knock on the door, and then put his hand. Boy, bye. You ain't getting ready to do nothing. Go on.
That's what I was like. Why you front?
Right.
You probably are glad, like, whew, I ain't got to take care of this baby.
You gonna have to pay that child support though.
And your wife about to find out.
So your life is over. So.
He might set up a little trust somewhere or something.
True. It's a mess.
Yeah.
A mess, because she definitely looked like she didn't like broke men.
Except for
He was struggling. He was.
But she was like, she also was like,
yeah.
I don't really like you, but
Yeah, because Troy was suspect.
He was
with that hot leather vest on
in the summertime in Arizona. Just craziness. But she finally grows hers and gets a pair of ovaries and says no.
Yep.
And starts her journey towards healing and rediscovery for herself
and the baby.
Gloria comes over. We're getting to the end scenes now. Gloria goes over to Marvin and she lay it out like, "Hey, I'm sorry. Take me back, please. Please. Baby, please, baby, please." Because she knew she was wrong. Like, she knew he was coming from a healthy place, that it was not like he was trying to tear her down, say that she was a bad mother, none of that stuff. Yep. So, what else are you going to do?
Right.
But eat that, take that pride and swallow it and understand that this was what you asked for.
And I like he gave her a little hard time at first. He wasn't, talking. You don't do that. You let her sweat for a few seconds. Play the game, Marvin.
Because he did.
Yes. And then she was ready to go out the door. He was like, "Oh, wait, come back. Because
she sure was like, you just gonna let me leave like that? Okay, well, bye." But then, nah. They had that, sometimes it's soft as. They had that Misty Rain going on.
Come on, Misty Rain.
He was such an adorable man. So I think they cast him appropriately in this role.
Yeah.
So then she finally got like real love.
Yeah.
Because people say there's a difference between making love, having sex, and then,
smashing.
That's the PG version of the word I was thinking. So this would be the make love version of when people say there's a difference between that, because you could feel like she just melted. Like, okay, this man really, he really cuts for me.
Yeah.
So I appreciated it. And she got a companion. That was the other thing that I wrote in my notes, that she finally has a companion, not just somebody,
her son.
not just her son, and not just somebody to run after.
Yeah.
That she now has a genuine match and someone that can feed into her the way that she's been wanting to feed into somebody else.
Yeah.
A partnership.
Yeah. I can agree with that.
So then for once we finally got a timeline.
Yeah.
We're back at New Year's Eve. And this is it. You see Robin with her little belly out there a little bit. And all the ladies just look like they're in a better headspace, better heart space, and that's it.
Yeah, I like that this movie allowed us to see the transitions of hurt and healing, and all of them did it in a different way. All of them received what they needed in a different way.
I also like that it wasn't a whole bunch of fighting between them. Disagreements are normal, but that whole knockout, drag out thing, that is not stereotypical for most relationships, to be honest.
And I like that they held each other accountable, even when it was stuff that they didn't want to hear. They held each other accountable.
Agreed. So what's the rating?
Y'all gotta remind me of the rating.
5 stars.
5 stars. I would say 4.5. I still like this movie.
4.5 overall. Okay. What about you?
I would definitely give it like 4.5, 4.6. I do wish there was a little bit more character development on a few of the ladies, just so we had maybe a bit more meat and potatoes. But I feel like the directors and everybody depicted each scenario in a believable way. And
the soundtrack.
And the soundtrack is good. And it was not this cookie cutter comedic version, because you kind of had either comedy or drama in that part of Black film, but you got like little tidbits of humor, but it still was like a drama.
And it didn't end up with everybody like having a Hallmark ending. Everybody didn't fall in love again.
It was realistic.
Yeah. I would give it a 4 for those very reasons. I do think that there could have been some additional character development, but I thought it was a solid story for all of the ladies. And like you said, realistic. Okay. So next week is live. We have our Dis Broad. We're so excited. You know, we love doing these because we love being able to show you guys our faces. Big faces in small places. So please join us Wednesday, March 30th at 6 p.m. Central Time. You will be able to find us on Facebook and YouTube. And then we will likely chop it up a little bit for you individuals on Instagram so that you can catch, you know, the highlights and all that good stuff.
So be sure that you grab, you know, your favorite glass of bubbly, you know, whether that's real or not, so you can enjoy the process with us, because you know we're going to have a little glass or two, and we'll also be celebrating Dr. Strickland's birthday.
Aries gang!
Must be this volume control.
So, okay, interns, process your notes. Be sure to catch us next session and find us on all major platforms at the Repsychled Podcast.
If you're a new intern, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share.
Thanks for listening. And remember, we are shifting and reshaping our psyche through healing conversations and connections, one discussion at a time.